What's going on, people? It's your boy NGS, back at it with another video, and if y'all are watching this today, then it is a celebration, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, it is officially the kickoff for another year of the Not E3 season. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, where all your favorite developers and publishers get together to show off all their fancy brand new video games spread across 14 different showcases. That makes it increasingly more difficult for us, the consumers, to keep up with, but somehow we still keep doing it because we love video games, and in the case of Capcom, we just gotta suffer through it, especially if you're a Dino Crisis fan. I mean, come on now. What are they thinking? Jurassic World is making billions of dollars. Dino Crisis is... Exoprimal fans, I hope y'all are happy. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, getting back on point to the topic of the video, we are going to be discussing video games. Video games related to the Xbox brand, because we have got an Xbox games showcase. Wow, I almost couldn't say that with a straight face. Xbox and games in the same sentence. Like, what is this? But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about the 2023 Xbox Game Showcase / Starfield Direct. They basically rolled both of the conferences into one another, and they made it this nice extended 2-hour video game smorgasbord. And like previous showcase discussions, this is not going to be a complete play-by-play over every single thing that went down in the showcases, every single game that was showed off, every single minute detail. You know, there was a lot of stuff that is going to be shown after the fact at the extended showcase, in addition to just various interviews that are going around. So this is not going to be a definitive play-by-play of everything that happened, for numerous reasons. Number one being that while I did enjoy a lot of the stuff I saw, I just don't really feel like talking about a lot of the games in the showcase. Most of you guys have seen the showcase, so you know the stuff that was shown off. And of course, me saying that, I'm gonna run into the one person who hasn't seen everything and says, oh, hey, I want to be informed. That's what Twitter lists are for, my friends. And number two, and the most important one for me, we got a lot of video games to play, y'all. Between Diablo 4, Street Fighter 6, Mass Effect 2 for the 88th time, there is a lot of stuff that we could be doing right now, instead of recapping everything that was shown off at a game showcase. And in my case, recording a video and editing it. But at the same time, I love it because I love the YouTube and I love you guys. But in all seriousness though, if you guys have not played Mass Effect 2 yet for some strange reason, I implore you to. Next to Persona and Yakuza, that's my third religion right there. Mass Effect 1 stands do not even comment, because I'm not even gonna look at your comments. I'm gonna just put them in the spam section. But y'all are probably out doing Mako missions anyway, getting no reception on those planets you be exploring anyways. Regardless, let's get back on point to the topic of the video, the 2023 Xbox Game Showcase. Now, it should come as no shock and surprise, especially if you've been watching the channel for the past year or so, that your boy Neo has not been the most, how do I say this positively, optimistic about some of the things that were happening in Xbox. A lot of the things, like the goodwill and the momentum that they were building up towards the launch of the Series X, going into year one and the early parts of year two, a lot of that just seemed to vanish. You know, it's like after they did the 6 and 6 in 2021 and they launched Halo Infinite, it's been pretty dry if you were an Xbox Series console owner. Now, that's not to say that there weren't games available. Of course, if you like multi-platform stuff, it's great. But the level of quality that we got, whether it was like updates to the consoles, quality day one Game Pass drops, Game Pass surprises, things like that, we really didn't see that in 2022. And going into that year's showcase, we were expecting updates for a lot of the things that they showed off in 2020, and we really didn't get that either. And then when you combine that with the whole situation happening with ABK and it being blocked and yada yada yada, there was just a lot of negative news surrounding the Xbox brand. And then Redfall happened and oi. So yeah, suffice it to say, your boy didn't have any expectations going into this, like I do most of these showcases, but specifically when it comes to Xbox, because I'm a fan of the brand, I love it, but at the same time, it's if you're not serving me and you're not giving me that good stuff, I'm not gonna act fake excited. That being said, I did watch this showcase and I walked away pleasantly surprised. In fact, I would go so far as to say this is one of the best Xbox showcases in recent memory. Definitely up there with what we saw back in 2021. And in terms of like the enthusiasm, excitement for the brand, yeah, it's got me back to that point. Now, was this the showcase of our dreams, or should I say the showcase that would power our dreams? No, there were still a lot of things that me personally, I would have loved to see at the showcase. I would have loved to see more updates for a lot of the games that they announced in 2020. I would have loved to see a lot of things. And for what they showed in this showcase, it was good,
but it can be better.
So talking about the showcase itself, delivering on the deliverables, we knew that this showcase had one goal in mind, and that was to sell people on Starfield. So much to the point where they gave it its own direct after the Xbox Game Showcase, which I thought was much needed for this game. It's the biggest game that Xbox has put out in a very, very long time, and it's insane to think that Starfield has way more hype going into it than a game like Halo, which is the game that built the Xbox brand. That is absolutely insane to think about, but again, it's just a prime example and a reminder that just because you're at the top of your game at one point, you could come crashing down in a matter of just a few years. I still can't believe they found a way to kill Halo. I can't. Oh. So I'm going to talk about Starfield real quick because everything I'm about to say when discussing this game is going to sound regurgitated, because I'm sure you guys have watched a lot of people out there give their thoughts on Starfield, and my opinions, there aren't going to be any different. Starfield looks absolutely incredible. Now, I'm a fan of Bethesda RPGs. I'm not the biggest fan as most people who do, 6, 7, 8 different playthroughs of it. They get involved in the mod creation and things like that. But Starfield was that game that up until now, I really wasn't sold on it. I mean, I'm sold on the idea of it when they pitched it as Skyrim in space, and based off of the name itself, Bethesda, you knew it was going to be quality. But until you show me tangible gameplay and you're showing me what we can see in the moment to moment, I'm really not going to be impressed. And what they showed off last year, again, it really didn't hook me. I was like, all right, well, that's a Bethesda game. It's looking kind of janky and wonky, but it's got some time. They're gonna let it cook for a while. They delayed it another time, so I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see what it's all about. And boy, did they deliver. Starfield is looking chef's kiss. It is looking like so much fun. And when I was live streaming this, I was watching, I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. This is great. That's awesome. This game is incredible. Like, it got me to the point where I was just like so excited to play the game. Every single thing that they showed off, from, of course, all the quality of life improvements compared to past Bethesda titles, the character creator, just like how much better the game looks by comparison to last year. Your ship customization, the ship builder, going into space, having dog fights, becoming a space pirate and looting like surrounding ships, things like that. One of the coolest things about Starfield that I really love is how they talked about their approach to the game. Similar to a lot of other Bethesda RPGs, it's really about creating your own story within this world. Of course, you're going to have your campaign, you're going to have your missions you do, but it's the fun in between. It's the fun in between the missions, the exploration, and being rewarded for those things. One of the highlights of playing through the recent Zelda games, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, whichever one tickles your fancy, is that you are rewarded at each and every single point for your exploration and being able to pull off things that you didn't really think was possible. And it's such a cool thing when you can see some of that stuff in games like Starfield. It's one of the things that really hooks me as a gamer. While I love video games and I just love the art and the passion that goes into make them, sometimes we just get lost in the formulaic nature of how things are designed. It's like, well, this is how people do things, and this is how 99.9% of people are going to do things, so that's how we're going to craft the game. But what about for that 0.1% of people who like to think outside the box and play things their own way? We saw that with Tears of the Kingdom. We're seeing that with Starfield, and it's looking like it's going to deliver and then some in its own way, and I'm excited for it. Now, while there's a lot of really cool things going on with Starfield, I do have to say the performance of the game was looking pretty rocky. Now, this is no shock and surprise, especially if you've been playing Bethesda RPGs. These games are not the most optimized titles. Even on really good PCs, the Bethesda games always tend to struggle. That's just one of their biggest downfalls in how they make the game. And Starfield looks like it's going to be no exception. However, Bethesda has said that, with the extra time and resources that they got from being acquired by Xbox, it's given them the opportunity to delay the game past their internal checkpoints or whatever to really polish it. And the game does look better by comparison to last year, but the gunplay itself does look a little wonky. Again, I know you don't play Bethesda RPGs for the gunplay, but if you are playing a game and it has a first-person option and there are some pew-pew-pew things going around, you'd want the gunplay to actually be competent. So the jury is still out as to how the game itself is going to run on launch. If you were watching the game via the streams, I do implore you to check out the 4K video capture on YouTube versus Twitch, because it does paint a better picture for the game. But we're really going to have to wait and see how the game holds up when it comes out this September. And unfortunately, they did confirm our worst fears. Starfield will not be launching with a 60 FPS option on consoles. The game will be launching at 4K 30 on the Xbox Series X and 1440p 30 FPS on the Xbox Series S. Now, if you've been following the game for a while, they've been pretty coy about how they were going to release it, but this just does seem par for the course. And I'm not going to get into the discussion about 60 versus 30 anymore with this game. It's gotten to a point where, we're at that stage in the generation where we want 60 FPS as the standard, and if developers aren't giving it to us for XYZ, whether it's the bottlenecks of the console, the CPU, things like that, it just is what it is, man. I would have loved for them to give us a dynamic 1440p performance mode at the very least, but that does not fall in line with Todd Howard and the vision of how they're crafting the game. So, you know, me, myself, and I am still going to be playing Starfield. I'm going to be playing it on my gaming PC. I did upgrade my graphics card, so fingers crossed I'll be able to play it at a smoother frame rate as opposed to the consoles. And while I do think that this is going to be the smoothest Bethesda game that they have launched, it still kind of sucks that it's going to be at 30, because if there's major performance issues with the game at 30 FPS, you know it's going to be dropping down to the low 20s, and when you spend $500 on the world's most powerful console, hey, listen, it's their words, not mine. They were the one who said it 3 years ago, so you can't come back at me saying, like, why did you expect that when they said it themselves? Come on now.
Well, why you boring me? I'm right.
It is just an unfortunate blemish on what is looking like it's going to be one of the greatest games of all time. That being said, Starfield, very much excited. Now that we've gotten Starfield out of the way, let's work our way back to the actual Xbox game showcase and talk about some of the things that I found interesting. And first off, starting at the front, we have got Fable. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Playground Games has finally unveiled our first proper look, if you will, at their take on the Fable franchise. This is a brand new reboot being developed by the immensely talented people over at Playground Games. They worked on the Forza Horizon series, and this is one of my most anticipated, not just Xbox titles, but most anticipated titles of all time. The Fable series as a whole, I really enjoy. You know, it's got its cheese to it. You know, it's got its jankiness. It's not the franchise that Peter Molyneux was hyping us on, but all things considered, Fable is pretty awesome, and just the lack of games like Fable, Mass Effect, all that stuff in the gaming space, you really feel it. So Playground Games taking the reign and working on a new iteration of Fable had got me excited when we started hearing rumors about it back in 2018. But unfortunately, this look at Fable didn't do much in the way of making me more excited about the game because, well, they didn't really show off any tangible gameplay. Now, I know this has been a topic of discussion for a lot of people on there saying that, hey, what are you talking about? They said that this was captured, you know, in-game, in-engine footage, so of course this is gameplay. But when we're talking about gameplay here, ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest here. We're talking about the moment-to-moment gameplay, what you see in showable form that represents what you're going to be doing on the day-to-day basis. When you are clicking buttons on the controller or pressing buttons on your keyboard, that stuff. And we didn't get that. The graphics themselves look phenomenal. It looks visually stunning. I love the character models. I love the detail on there. Richard Ayoade, if you guys have ever checked out the IT Crowd, such an immensely funny show, and he's one of the main reasons why, fingers crossed, he plays a really big role in the game, because I love his line delivery in that show, and I just really hope that he's written some amazing dialogue, because he is just fantastic. But outside of him, we really didn't see anything that represents Fable. I mean, we saw a couple of quick cuts here and there of, you know, characters doing stuff, but it's not what you expect for gameplay. But when I'm talking about gameplay, I'm talking about what we are going to be doing when we hold the controller in our hands. I'm talking about what they showed off with Avowed, what they showed off with Starfield. Stuff like that is what is indicative of gameplay. So when we look at something like Fable, while it looks amazing, and we look at something like Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga, which looks incredible, you're not showing me exactly what I am doing. And you could say that, well, hey, listen, if you're a fan of these franchises, you should know what the gameplay is like. In the case of Fable, this is a complete reboot. In the case of Hellblade, what the fuck have they been talking about that game for 4 years now? Like, I would have liked to see more than Senua walking back and forth in a line. Back and forth in a line. Like, come on now. So while those two games looked phenomenal, they don't get any brownie points for me just because they were there. Because this is a game showcase, and I want to see games. Similar to what Compulsion showed off, their brand new game. It was a homeboy just ding, 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 like strumming that guitar. Like, you know what? Me doing that sounded more like a banjo than anything else, so I'm just going to address that right now. But it was a dude playing a guitar. Like, I can't get jiggy with this. So yeah, that's part of the reason why this showcase was cool and everything. But when you're showing me stuff that's in engine and you're showing me CGI trailers and stuff that we really don't know anything about the game, I can't do anything with that. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of foreplay and being teased, but sometimes I need more than that. I need more than that, please. But talking about more positive things, let's talk about the Atlus Blowout, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, Atlus X Xbox partnership. It is the craziest thing. And we know we're going to extend this past just Atlus. Let's just talk about Atlus SEGA because they showed off a lot of games there. So we're going to start with what is the least exciting to me and work our way up to what is the most exciting. So the least exciting, unfortunately, I have to put this in there because they really didn't show much, even though I am a slut for the franchise. We have got our first look at Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and I gotta say, damn, the sheer audacity of or should I say, the balls on Xbox to put this right after Hellblade 2. It was hilarious because if y'all watch that trailer, you see we got our homeboy Ichiban, because Ichiban is #1, Ichiban Holdings to the Moon. My man's was just showing up on a beach naked, double cheeked up. Well, not really cheeked up. He definitely got to hit the gym, hit the squats and everything. But man's was double cheeked up over on the beach, just showing his ass and extremities. And I'm talking full on back nudity, ladies and gentlemen. I was just like, are we gonna see some full shaft? Oh, they were this close. They were very, very close to showing us a full shaft on an Xbox stream. So could you definitely say that this Xbox showcase was ass because they showed ass? But yeah, this was basically a confirmation that the next mainline installment in the Like a Dragon franchise, I guess you can call this Yakuza 8, is going to be releasing next year. It's going to be getting an Xbox release, which is awesome. The franchise is just really found a home on the Xbox brand, and this goes back to what I always say when it comes down to Xbox and Japanese partnerships. You know, a lot of people, what it does come down to is the support. Obviously, it comes down to the consumers going out there buying and supporting the games, which is very important. That's why I always say, if a Japanese game comes out on Xbox and you're interested in it, buy the game, don't wait for it to come to Game Pass. But what Xbox can do in the meantime is strike these deals. Getting all the Yakuza games on Xbox did numbers for the franchise to bring people in. And then what happens after that? Well, they bring Yakuza Like a Dragon over, and then they bring Judgment, and then Judgment sequel, and then now we have this new Yakuza game, and then we got Like a Dragon Ishin. Like, this is how it all works. So it's on us as the consumers to support the games when they come out, but it falls on Microsoft to convince these companies that, hey, this is an opportunity for your game to reach the masses. And that might come with money hatting. I know people hate that when it comes to video games, but stuff like this is very important. And showing games like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is a very interesting title. Hopefully that means that the management minigame comes back and it's just like 3 times as big. I spent so much time in that minigame. It was so much fun. If you couldn't tell, I love this franchise to death. But considering we didn't really see anything in the ways of gameplay, it's not really an exciting announcement in my honest opinion. In addition to that, we roll into some of the other stuff they showed off. These things, unfortunately, did get leaked before the showcase. Well, 2 out of the 3 of them did. We got 2 brand new Persona games coming out on Xbox, both launching day and date on Game Pass. Again, going back to the awesome support. Thank you, Uncle Phil. And speaking of which, talking about Uncle Phil for a second, I gotta give a shout out to this man, because the only reason this man put those games on Xbox Game Pass was because people like us on Twitter would not shut up about it. People like me, Mr. Matty Plays, Sixers Octavia, like just doing the groundwork to get Japanese games on Xbox and not shutting up about it. So thank you, Uncle Phil. If you are watching, we appreciate that. We got a brand new game announcement in the ways of Persona 5 Tactica, which is going to be a tactical RPG spin on the Persona franchise, well, in this case, the Persona 5 franchise, because it is now a franchise in and of itself between Persona 5 Royal, Persona 5 Royal Redux, Persona 5 Tactica, Persona 5 Dancing Game, and what is probably going to be a Persona 5 mobile title, a Persona 5 fighting game. Like, we're working our way through the list right now. Like, what's next? Oh, we also have Persona 5 Strikers. That was the Musou game. Like, yeah, they're doing the thing that they always do. There is no Persona 6. It's only Persona 5 all day, every day. Eat your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But that's coming out day 1 on Game Pass, which is awesome to see. In addition, we got Persona 3 Reload, which had been rumored for a while, and it unfortunately got leaked a few days ago. This is a from-the-ground-up remake of Persona 3, the first iteration of what people are calling the new line of Persona games, like the modern iteration, what people classify as Persona. And even though they did just re-release Persona 3 last year, as Persona 3 Portable, they remastered it and they put it out on the modern consoles. It was basically a port of a PSP game. But what Persona 3 fans have wanted for the longest time is just a definitive version of both Persona releases. I'm talking about Persona 3 on the PS2 and Persona 3 on the PSP. The best of both worlds coming together in one game. And what we got with Persona 3 Reload is not that at all. In fact, it's just Persona 3 remade with quality of life improvements. A couple of things here and there added from the updated PS2 version, but not all the extra story content that we wanted. Typical Atlus fashion. But fret not, ladies and gentlemen, give it time and they will release Persona 3 Reload Remax with all the extra content you want to see in about 3 years time, but only if you buy Persona 3 Reload. Hey man, listen, I'm not buying that shit day one. I'm just gonna play it on Game Pass at this rate. You will not get my money that way, Atlus. I don't care how much of a shill you think I am. And rounding out the Atlus announcements, we have got a pretty major bombshell in a new game, Metaphor ReFantasio, which kind of took all of us by surprise. I don't think anybody was expecting this game. You know, it had been talked about and rumored for concept arts like years ago, but you know, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, well, I believe it when I see it, and then it comes out of nowhere, not only announcing the game, but showing off a full gameplay trailer, and then the game is coming out next year. That is sick. A lot of the main talent behind the Persona series is working directly on this game, and it's just ticking all the boxes for me, man. You guys know me. I'm a JRPG slut through and through, so of course I'm gonna get excited about this. You know, behind Starfield, this was my game of the show. This game was just looking incredible. Of course, it's a little rough. It's a little rough, but you know, fingers crossed by the time the game comes out, they iron out everything, so it's looking like a JRPG banger of the ages. But we'll see. We'll see. Other than that, very excited for it. Now moving away from the third-party deals back into the first-party portfolio, we have got to talk about Avowed, ladies and gentlemen. Obsidian, in my honest opinion, is going to go down as one of the best studio acquisitions that Xbox has ever made. Just looking at the diversity of games that they're able to put out, from passion projects to, you know, bigger, more palpable RPGs. And Avowed was one of my most anticipated games for the past 3 years or so. Every single year, I was wondering, are we going to see more Avowed? Are we going to see more Avowed? And ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm that they showed a game with Avowed in its title. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and lie saying that Avowed, it was the game that I expected going into this showcase. It seems like they did change the overall visual direction of the game, which is fine. Things happen in game developments all the time. And, you know, the thing that's really holding this all together for me, well, it's two reasons, actually. The game still has a year or so of development. And one thing I've noticed about a lot of games, not all of them, a lot of games, is that they might look a little rough, you know, because it's usually an earlier build. But with more time development, you know, a la Starfield, give it a year's time, and it can look exponentially better. And then also, at the very least, you know, Obsidian, they might not be the greatest in terms of how their games look, but RPG-wise, Obsidian is top notch. And from what they're talking about, Avowed is not really going to be the Skyrim competitor that we all expected it would be. And for that, I am thankful. You know, one of the main selling points of RPGs nowadays is just about, like, you know, hundreds upon hundreds of hours of gameplay, all these different quests, blah, blah, blah. And while that's good for some people who like to sink a ton of time in that, when you have so many of them, especially on the Xbox platform, which is becoming a Western RPG heaven by the looks of it, you don't really want all of those games to compete, you know? So if you have a game like Avowed, you know, where, you know, the main story of it is probably like maybe like 30 hours or so, and then for full completion, it could be 70 or 80 hours. That seems more palpable to me. You know, if it's just like a very meaty Obsidian RPG with great quest storylines and great dialogue and great characters and all that stuff, I will take that over everybody and their mama trying to have a radio tower at every block. Like, hey, listen, if you like it, that's fine. So while Avowed doesn't look the greatest visually, Obsidian's track record speaks for itself, so I'm still excited about it. And now moving into the next game, which was our very first look at what inXile has been cooking up for a while. You guys know inXile, they worked on Wasteland. We have got a new game, Clockwork Revolution. And this game right here, I know everybody has said this, but it's giving me major BioShock Infinite vibes, bro. But one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this game is that it's coming from inXile. inXile is a very, like, if you thought Obsidian was very RPG heavy, inXile is extremely RPG heavy with how deep and intricate their systems are. And they're talking about this is going to be a time-bending first-person RPG shooter. Like, the concepts and everything that we showed is right up my alley. So yeah, just color me intrigued, dare I say hyped for this game. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps up everything that I personally wanted to talk about at the Xbox Game Showcase. Like I said, this was not a play-by-play of everything. I could have sat here and talked about Forza Motorsport and how it's coming out this October and how beautiful it looks, but that's literally the only amount of energy that I will dedicate for Forza Motorsport because I don't really care about simulation racers. You guys know me. I'm not gonna sit here and cap about it. All I know is that it goes vroom vroom and it looks good and they're making a left turn. Like, that is my entire knowledge of sim racers. But I am thankful that they did not put a movie trailer in here. I'm thankful for that. But regardless of my critiques, ladies and gentlemen, and regardless of how I felt about certain games or the lack thereof when it comes down to gameplay, I do personally believe that this was a solid showcase overall for the Xbox brand, and it's something that they needed right now, something desperately that they needed for a brand that's been floundering for the past year. I mean, you may disagree with that and say that, oh no, this is what they were working on this whole time, but it's like, No. You could obviously tell the excitement, enthusiasm in the gaming community, not just Xbox fans, but in the gaming community as a whole, when they see stuff like Starfield get shown off. Like, that level of excitement, enthusiasm is what the brand needs. We need more games to do the talking. All this other stuff is great, and you could talk about studio acquisitions and create collage templates, blah, blah, blah. The future is bright and green for Xbox, but at the end of the day, games are what I care about. Games are what I'm seeing, and that's what I get excited about. And what they showed off delivered, and then some. And if anybody at Team Xbox is watching, I want to give you guys a round of applause because this was a great showcase. It was definitely a showcase that was needed right now to get people excited for the brand, and they just keep getting better and better and better and better. They're trimming the fat, they're doing less talking, it's more about the games themselves and just the flow and the content. There weren't really a lot of periods of time where it was like, okay, this is the segment where I check out or whatever. I mean, we did have a couple of those moments, you know, the Fallout 76s and the Elder Scroll Online, things like that. But, you know, hey, listen, if you're a fan of those games, I love that for you. Me, myself, and I, that's a bathroom break. And giving Starfield its own dedicated showcase was the best thing that they could have done to sell the game. I am completely all in and on board on Starfield come this September. And yeah, Xbox, just keep doing what you're doing. The future is bright when it comes to how you guys are handling these showcases and doing these announcements. Oh. Phil. We were so close. We were so close, Phil. Yeah, I couldn't end this showcase discussion without talking about this one more thing before the one last thing, and that is the Xbox Series S 1TB all black edition. Now, here's the thing. I understand the Series S is all part of Microsoft's game plan. As a former Series S owner, you know, I used to have one. I don't have one anymore. I'm rocking with my Series X now. I like the idea of the Series S. But the thing about the Series S, while I know it's not targeted to most of the people who'd probably be tuning in for an Xbox game showcase, I don't think it was the wisest business decision to make a more expensive version of the Series S. So the Series S all black 1TB edition is going to retail for $349.99, which, as I'm sure you guys can surmise, puts it within striking distance of a digital PS5, a console that is significantly more powerful than the Xbox Series S. And one of the benefits of the Series S was its $299 price point, you know? So if they were able to get that price point down to a lower point, like let's say maybe $250, or maybe make this console the de facto Series S for $299, I could see that being good. But a more expensive Series S, because of the storage, listen, I get it. Xbox proprietary storage is more expensive than standard NVMe storage. But that's not my problem. That's not my problem, ladies and gentlemen. As more time passes, NVMe storage becomes dirt cheap. The Xbox storage is just now coming down in price. We got to do something about this. And a $350 Series S, I ain't a businessman. I am not a businessman, but I don't do that to the little man. Especially, wait. You making the black one more expensive? And that about wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for us to sign off for another video. Thank you guys so much for all the support over the past couple of years. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to all the live streams. We had a lot of fun at our Xbox Game Showcase 1, at our PlayStation Showcase 1, and, you know, just continue being the awesome individuals that you are. You know, talking about these video games is truly one of the highlights of my week, and just being able to chop it up with you guys and sharing our opinions, different opinions, similar opinions, you know, preaching the gospel of things like Persona 5 Royal. It's just amazing, man. Life is beautiful. What were some of you guys' favorite announcements from the Xbox Showcase? What did you think about Starfield Direct? Do you truly believe that the answer to Xbox's future being brighter is more of Ichiban's ass? Comment down below and let me know. And for me, for now, my name is NGS, signing off from my Zenitsu coat. I will catch you guys later. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one.